everyone. So welcome back. We really hope you enjoyed the documentary Free Cece. I really encourage y'all to look up Cece. She's an amazing activist in the community and her story is extremely inspiring. So now moving on into our next segment, spotlighting trans voices. So if my lovely guest will go ahead and introduce herself, we can get started.
Hello, my name is Regina Livingston. My pronouns are she, hers, queen, and diva. I'm a trans woman, African American trans woman. So I'm Black first, then I'm trans. And I am the founder and executive director of Unspoken Treasure Society.
Yes. So thank you, Regina, for joining me. My talks that I've had with you have been really inspiring. So I just know you're going to drop some gems in this interview. But first, you did mention you're the founder of Unspoken Treasure Society. Can you tell me a little bit more about your organization?
Unspoken Treasure Society is a nonprofit 501(c) approved organization based out of Gainesville, Florida. We were founded in 2018 by myself and my sister, Dianca Glamour. And we came up with the name together and was in hopes of growing together in the organization. And she decided she wanted to pursue her rap career. So that left me here with Unspoken Treasure as its CEO. And it's been a wonderful 2 years. We celebrated our 2-year anniversary, November the 13th. We are, our mission and what we came to do was aspire, uplift, and reach out to our African American and minority communities, Latinx minority communities, to give them a voice. Because a lot of times they are ostracized, a lot of times they feel like they don't have a voice, so they kind of stay in the shadows, instead of speaking up. So we wanted to give a platform for them to have a voice.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of just touched on it. Mm-hmm. Could you dive a little deeper on what prompted you to start Unspoken Treasure Society?
What prompted me to start Unspoken Treasure Society was when I came home in 2013, I came home in transition. I was getting my life back on track because my life had kind of fell apart a little bit. And so I was kind of a wreck. And so I came home to get my life back on track. And I was reaching out to try to find an organization or, just somebody that could possibly help me in the process. And I wasn't able to find anything. And I did run across like the Pride Center, but I didn't feel at that time, I didn't feel like a warm welcome. I just kind of felt, it was there, but me, myself personally, I just didn't feel that comfortability that you're supposed to feel when organizations are there to help different groups of people. And so I looked around the city and I saw that the community of trans experience and just the LGBTQ community as a whole was just a disarray. I just felt like everybody was just distant. No one was unified. No one was using any of the avenues that was in place for them because they probably felt the same way I felt. So I felt that in order to change what I was looking at, I had to do something myself. So that's when I came up with Unspoken Treasure Society. And I started it, and that was its goal and purpose, and we are still here.
We love to see it. So I know from our prior talks, you have big dreams for Unspoken Treasure Society. So where do you see it in the next 5 years, maybe even 10 years? So where do you want to see the organization go? I know you all have some chapters.
In the next 5.
I know you all have some chapters. You want to see that?
We have a chapter in Jacksonville, Florida. We have a chapter in Atlanta, Georgia. And we collaborate with the Vision for Hope, Renaissance Cares, and THAP Atlanta. And we also collaborate here with the Pride Center, and we collaborate with Tranquility from time to time. But I see us global. I see us providing transitional home. I see us having our first transitional home in our area,
Yes.
you know, for trans community to come and transition themselves back together. That's something that's very important to me because, like I told you, that's what I needed and didn't have it at the time. And I just see us being global.
Okay.
We've reached we've made a lot of connections. We've made a lot of, we've had a lot of collaborations. And I think networking is key for longevity and sustainability.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Unspoken Treasure Society Global, like reading your story, which is really inspiring to me, especially because y'all have only been around for 2 years and you already have 3 different chapters established. Like your growth is amazing. So just kudos to you. You're doing an amazing job. So you told us a little bit about Unspoken, but I would just love to hear about your story. Again, like this is your platform. So just tell us a little about yourself, your history, whatever you want people to know.
Well, I was born and raised in Gainesville, Florida, and I moved when I had a childhood that was kind of confusing for me. It was kind of difficult because I knew I was different, but I had no clue what it was. I knew I felt different on the inside, and I didn't have anyone to really talk to because I knew that wasn't a conversation that I could have with my mom. Yeah. And so it was trapped inside of me. So growing up, it was hard. It was really, really hard. And I was very, very feminine, and I didn't change who I was for anybody. You know, I was very, very feminine. So when I walked in the room, you knew I was in the room. I was never somebody that was like a wallflower. You knew I was in the room. I used to prance up and down the hallways of the church. I pranced up and down the hallways of the school. So you simply knew who I was. And so I was severely punished as a child because of that fact, you know, because my mom didn't want that from me, and I don't think she understood either. So I used to, you know, my punishment used to be a bit severe, and I was angry, you know, I was just angry at that. And so I left home at a young age. I left home like at 18 years old, and I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And that's why I grew up. You know, that's why I learned a lot, because I learned the things that I didn't know. That was the first place that I was able to see a transgender person. Because here in Gainesville, I would see people with wigs on and, you know, makeup on, and that didn't help me, you know, to see. But when I saw beautiful, flowing trans women, you know, with breasts and body, and I was like, that's what it is. It was like it hit me. This is the confusion, because I knew inside I always wanted to be a her. I just knew that I felt like I was born in the wrong body growing up. And so it just was back and forth. But when I was able to identify what it was a beautiful feeling to finally know, okay, that's what I am. I'm a transgender. Mm-hmm. So I learned what I needed to learn. And I didn't necessarily take all the best steps to transition, but I transitioned at the age of 26. Mm-hmm. And I kind of left from the public's eye and took time to transition. I wanted to really look like I wanted to look. I didn't want to really be out, and for the rough on the edges part of my life, I wanted to come out, you know, when I had blossomed. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time at home. And so once I was to the point that I felt I was ready to present myself, I finally came out. And so life was good. I was happy. And then I started going down some of the wrong roads, you know. So, you know, we all bump our heads when we're young and dumb. So I bumped my head a few times, and I had to go to the School of Hard Knocks. And once I realized that's not who I was as a person, I brought my life back together through the grace of God and friends who love and care for me, you know, sincerely. Because, you know, you have so many, you have a lot of friends,
Yes, ma'am.
but you have to really dig through those friends and see who's really there for you and who's there for your betterment.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you know, I got myself together. I came back home and I kind of started from scratch. I started from scratch. And in that process, Unspoken Treasure was born.
That's a beautiful story. That's like, it's just inspiring because I know for me, like I have family members like my mom, like starting over is like one of the hardest things you can ever do. So your strength to start over is like beautiful and your resilience is also beautiful. And through your starting over and your resilience, you create
Mm-hmm.
an organization. So round of applause for you. So
Thank
I know in our prior conversations we had a lengthy discussion about how the Black Lives Matter movement is very exclusionary.
you.
So this is kind of a little off the book, off the script, but how do you feel like cis people can better support the trans community, especially in movements like the Black Lives Matter movement?
By showing up,
Mm-hmm.
the best way for cisgender males and females and the Black Lives Matter movement to show up, you know, because if you aren't behind the trans movement for Black lives, then Black lives really don't matter, you know, because we're Black first and we're human and we stand for anytime when Floyd was killed, we stood, we marched, we fought.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
all we ask for is the same thing in return. That's all we ask for. We need for you to show up and we need for you to speak in our absence. That's very important
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of cis people will speak as long as we're standing there. But then it's a different, so a lot of times they're silent if we're not there. We need them to speak when we're not there. And we need them to show up when we need them.
Yes, ma'am.
The same way we do when we're needed. We show up.
Yes, ma'am. So, for you, what does allyship look like for you in the next 10 years? Like, what would you like to see? I know you kind of touched on like, do you want more just people to do things like this, like
I
reaching?
want
Yes, like,
I want more networks. I want more networking. I want more organizations that have like the same goals but different, you know, service different people to come together because I think that is so important. I think it's important for um, organizations, especially in the nonprofit realm, to come together because that's how you know who's really for the community. You know who's really doing the work because you have organizations that's just not doing the work. Since this pandemic, we have been open. The doors have been open.
yes, ma'am.
A lot of the bigger organizations have not. Those doors have been closed, locked, and nowhere for people to turn and go. And we've been here, you know, providing a safe space. We've been here providing virtual rooms as well as in-person rooms. We're always visible. And that's so important because someone that doesn't know that you're there could easily fall through the cracks. It's too much of a high rate of suicide. It's too much of a high rate of depression to not be available. You
Yes,
know, no matter what's going on, those things are still happening.
yes, ma'am. I definitely agree because we talked about that in our first meeting, how the Black Lives Matter movement was donated $90 million. And like, imagine all the work that your organization and smaller mutual aid organizations and grassroots orgs could have done if they would have just saw a piece of that 90 million. So that's definitely, that is
Exactly.
a major one, which is why like we reached out to you all because yes, like the telethon is like really cool, but we really do like want to put money into these organizations that are actually doing the groundwork in the community. So very appreciative
Mhm.
of everything that you do. So what is the biggest thing that you want people to take away from your story about Unspoken? Like, what do you want people to take away from this?
I just want them to take away that we are really here for the people, you know, and we don't discriminate. Um, if you came to my door, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't help you because you're trans. We don't discriminate when it comes to testing. We test everybody.
HIV testing, correct?
We will,
HIV testing.
Huh?
It's like HIV.
Yes. We, yes, we do HIV testing, counseling, and we have a doctor that's connected directly to us so that if they're private, they can go to him. And if they're not, they can go to the, health department. Um, so we try to just make sure we're here on every space, and we just always want people to know that we're discreet. I'm here anytime. I let people know you can call me anytime. I give people my personal number as well as my office number so they can know that they have somebody that they can lean on.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're here. That's the biggest thing. And anybody that wants to read up on us can go to our website, which is www.unspokensociety.org, and they can see the work that we're doing.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely. If you are watching the interview, all the links and resources from this telethon will be in our bio at Lamberside Diva. So definitely check out Unspoken Treasure Society. But moving on, so even though there's a pandemic outside, y'all are still up and running and programming. So do you have any events you want to publicize to the public? I know you were saying that you have some in-person events, very small ones, but some in person and some virtual. So yeah, that you would like the public to support.
We're having the next thing that we're having. We have the youth meetings that we have on the third Tuesday of every month. It's a virtual meeting. There's flyers on the website with the link to it. Just go up under the youth tab. There's a youth link. Just go up under it, and it tells you the times and it tells you the week that we have it every week, every month. And we also have the adult meeting. We're just gonna do virtual only because when the numbers start spiking, they stop, coming to the in-person meetings. So I want to provide still that space virtually so they'll be safe and feel safe. So the virtual meeting is the second Tuesday of every month. In Jacksonville and in Atlanta, the meetings are still in person because they come. It's important to them to come to the meeting. So those are in person.
Yes, ma'am. And also, it's like a little bonus question. If you could see another, I know you said globally, but like, what's the next chapter you would love to bring to fruition for Unspoken? Like, if you could go to any city, where would you like to go to open another chapter?
I would love to go to South Carolina. South Carolina or North Carolina, because I haven't heard a lot about those areas. I hear about New York, Texas, all the major cities, I hear about them, but I've never heard a lot about South Carolina or North Carolina. So that would be a place that I would be interested in.
I like that because you typically hear like the bigger cities like Houston, New York, probably like Cleveland, but that's I thought she was gonna say Houston, but yeah, I see that too. Those are the cities that fall through the cracks. Those smaller, less populated cities.
Right. Mm-hmm. And those are the areas I think about. I think about those smaller areas. That's important. It's important. All those little country towns and the little backwood areas, those are the places that you have to reach. Those are the places that's important because those are the people that feel they have nowhere to turn. So areas like that is where I try to reach.
Yes, ma'am. So, Ms. Regina, I just want to thank you on behalf of the Lamberside chapter for speaking to me. Your story is inspiring. Like, if you have the chance to talk to Regina, like, email her. She's very responsive, and talk to her. She was amazing. I think she was like, you were like the first Black entertainer in Houston. Like, this lady has stories upon stories, and she's really an amazing person. I would like to thank you for taking your time to speak to me. Do you have anything else you want to leave the people with?
I just want to thank you all for reaching out to me. It was an honor to sit down with you all. I wish you all the best in all your endeavors. And I hope that maybe one day we can get together and do something amazing.
Yes, ma'am. This is definitely the start of a beautiful relationship, especially when we go back in person, probably actually doing forums to like bridge that gap that you were talking about and actually doing networking in person. But if that's all,
most definitely.
Again, thank you so much, Regina. If you are tuning in now, we'll now be moving into our recap video. So if you are just now tuning in and you're kind of lost, like what's going on? There's an interview. What have I missed? Sora Payton will go ahead and recap about everything that's been going on. Again, please donate to the Twitch link. They will be going to amazing organizations like Regina. You know, true allyship is educating yourself, but also, you know, like opening your purse. So, you know, $1, it really does go far to help this amazing organization. On behalf of my chapter, I would like to say thank you, and I'll catch you in a few more segments. So my face isn't going anywhere. Bye.
Bye-bye.